you're not gonna like this. I tell you right now, you're not gonna like my opinion of this. Yesterday, I watched the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and the fact this video wasn't up that day should tell you that I needed a bit more time to think on my thoughts. But yeah, I think I've got my thoughts in order now. So, what did I think of the movie? This wasn't very good. And I didn't want to be saying this. Like, you know, like, I thought the first Mario movie was fine. I think the title of my impressions video for that was The Super Mario Brothers movie was surprisingly tolerable. Because, yeah, it was. Like, surprising because previous Mario movie, the live-action one, was horrible. I mean, I love it, but, like, it is objectively a terrible movie. And the studio making these animated movies is Illumination, the Burger King of animated big-budget movies. Yeah, like, you eat a Burger King meal, it's probably not gonna hurt you, but, like, after you eat it, you're just probably thinking, man, why didn't I eat at Wendy's? Or an actual burger place? Or even, I'd take McDonald's over that. But, like, yeah, the first movie I thought was just sort of fine. And I didn't really have much expectation going into this one because, like, I watched the trailers. I didn't put on any trailer reactions because the trailer reactions for the first movie all got copyright claimed immediately. So I was like, screw that, I'm not going to do that again. Also, the trailers came out at, like, 8 in the morning. Most of what the trailers showed was just stuff. Like, I didn't get, like, a sense of a plot until, like, the very last trailer. I was like, okay, yeah, so you have, like, Rosalina and Bowser Jr. and Yoshi and all this other stuff, and I was like, okay, but what is happening here? Why should I care? Spoilers, the movie doesn't really answer that either. This movie is definitely getting less good reception online. I mean, of course, critics are, you know, doing their job and, you know, like, saying that, well, this wasn't very entertaining, and this felt like a big commercial and stuff, which, yeah, these movies kind of are, because the point is to introduce non-gamers to, you know, the universe of Mario. And, you know, I'm sure that works. I mean, there's always new generations of children ready to be Nintendo fans. I don't really know where to start. I guess I'll start with the voice actors. Why not? So yeah, most of the cast from the first movie returns, except for the Kongs, which is perfectly fine, because I didn't really think they added much. It was kind of cool that Donkey Kong was in the first movie, and he does make a small cameo in the background of this movie, but as I said, I'm perfectly fine with them not being here. There's already more than enough characters here. But everyone else, you know, you got Chris Pratt as Mario, Charlie Day as Luigi, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, Jack Black as Bowser, blah, 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 blah. And they're all about as solid as they were in the first one. I thought the performances were generally fine. I'm obviously going to, like, prefer the game voices because that's just what I associate with the characters. You know, I do enjoy Charlie Day as Luigi. I think he works very well for this specific version of Luigi. I noticed Chris Pratt seemed a little bit more into it this time around than in the first movie. Same with Anya Taylor-Joy. Like, I feel like she was allowed to express herself a bit more here. And then we have, like, the new characters. So we have Benny Safdie as Bowser Jr. And when I saw that, I was like, what? The Uncut Gems guy? I still need to see Uncut Gems, by the way. Like, I've heard that's one of the better Adam Sandler films. And he's... Okay, so, like, if you're used to the games, Bowser Jr. is, like, you know, he's like a little kid. He's, like, cute, beady eyes. Like, yeah, he's adorable. Here, he goes for more of, like, a teenager kind of route, which makes you wonder why he still has that bib bandana thing. And his eyes aren't black beads anymore, which, yeah, I get. I mean, like, the Toad's eyes are, so why can't his? So it makes him look less cute. And, like, they're trying to make Bowser Jr. a bit more of a big menacing villain when he's always kind of been more of a troublemaker, which I've always enjoyed about the character in the games. Like, Bowser Jr. is one of my favorite Mario characters. So I was happy to see him here, and happy that he got a big part, and he probably has the best, not really growth, but relationship in the film, you know, with Bowser. Then we have Brie Larson as Rosalina. She's fine. I'd say she's a much better fit for Rosalina than Anya Taylor-Joy was for Peach. Like, this sort of, like, low, motherly voice fits Rosalina quite well. Unfortunately, Rosalina gets sidelined almost immediately. Like, the opening scene has her, like, reading a bedtime story to the Lumas, and then Bowser Jr. shows up in that Megaleg, vehicle boss, you know, from Mario Galaxy 1. I think he's the first major boss, like, of that first, gateway, or whatever that was called. And that was a really fun fight, but then, Rosalina seems to destroy it, but then she gets captured by it, and she's imprisoned in the Space Junk Galaxy, which, the Space Junk Galaxy looks nothing like how it does in the game, and doesn't play the music, so is it really the Space Junk Galaxy then? But then he's taken to, like, Planet Bowser, which, we'll get to that. And Bowser Jr. wants to drain her power to power up his Boomsday Cannon, which can apparently destroy the universe. No explanation on how, it can just do that. Apparently. There's a pretty big revelation surrounding Rosalina later on, but we'll get to that, because that's, interesting. And there's Yoshi, who's voiced by Donald Glover, which I think is really funny, because all he does is make Yoshi noises. It's like, why hire Donald Glover to do that? You could do, like, with, like, anyone. I don't know if they've, like, pitched up, like, Donald Glover's voice, because for those who don't know, like, Kazumi Totaka is the voice of Yoshi in the games, and has been since the late 90s. What they do is that he makes the noises, like, you know, he records them like a voice actor always does, but then they, like, pitch them up to sound cute. Like, you want to hear something cursed, go listen to those, pitched down, Yoshi noises to see what they actually sound like. It sounds so weird. Yoshi's fine, like, he's Yoshi alright, it's just that because he doesn't really talk, which, I mean, I don't want Yoshi to talk, because, like, we already had that in the Super Mario World cartoon, and it was terrible. I mean, it was funny in a meme-y kind of way, but, I mean, we do oh, why do Yoshi have to go to bed so soon? Well, like they say in Brooklyn, early to bed, early to catch the worm. Or is it the bagel? I gotta stop somewhere. I can quote that entire episode front to back. But yeah, Yoshi's fine. The scene where they find him is, you know, of course it's the whole, oh, they think it's something scary, but, you know, it ends up sort of, you know, it's just Yoshi. And, the scene where we find out how he hatched and sort of, like, made his way through the real world is kind of cute. It's also one of the only times there's a, licensed song of the game. It's only 2. I guess 3 if you count Luigi singing, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. But, I mean, Mario's already sung that song, like, you know, in Mario Teaches Typing 2, you know, the floating head. So, I figure that's fine. It's also, you know, actually relates to Italians. When an eel lunges out and he takes a bite of your snout, that's amore. Yeah, Yoshi, of course it's, like, done, like, just sort of in a clip series. But, of course, as he speaks Yoshi, Mario and Luigi don't find out. And Mario goes, I guess we'll never know. Yoshi kind of also gets sidelined, like, a lot. Again, presumably just because he doesn't really talk and doesn't really add all that much. Like, I swear, like, after, like, the scene with the dinosaurs, they just sort of forget he exists. Like, he kind of helps out in the final battle, but even when he gets a power-up, he's useless. We'll get to my thoughts on, like, how they could have balanced this better, but whatever. The general plot line is that, so Rosalina's kidnapped by Bowser Jr., the Lumas send a message to, like, the Mushroom Kingdom, and Peach and Toad go up to save her. They don't tell anyone, by the way. They just put a letter, just give, like, Mario and Luigi a letter, which I don't know why they couldn't have just told them, but I imagine they just wanted to do a Mario 64 opening reference. And we have a fun sequence of Mario and Luigi going around the Mushroom Kingdom, like, trying to help out. It's where we get the most musical references in, because they put in a ton of different, like, songs from the games. That is something that I will also say this movie does better than the first, is both the amount of Mario music used and the specific ones used, because in the first movie you had a decent amount, but it was mostly just sort of Mario 1 stuff and some of the main themes from, like, Mario World 3, 64, and a couple others. This one does it a lot more. Bowser Jr.'s theme from Galaxy gets used a lot, which is very good, because, you know, that's what we all associate with Bowser Jr., I believe. His new Super Mario Bros. Wii themes in the credits, though, that's interesting. There is a good amount of Galaxy in there. I think a good chunk of the songs get rearranged. Not the Space Junk Galaxy one, though, which just sucks. That's one of my favorites. We see Gusty Garden, Galaxy, Egg Planet. We get the, I think the Honeyhive theme's in there, but to be honest, I couldn't really hear it. The final area theme, Bowser's boss fight theme there. Yeah, good amount of stuff, as well as some other things from other properties that we will talk about in a bit. But yeah, Bowser Jr. gets in that UFO that's used at the beginning of Galaxy 1 and never again. The UFO is his personal spaceship, I guess, here. And he lifts Peach's castle out of the ground with Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi, and shrunk down Bowser still in it. But then, like, after Mario and Luigi and Yoshi fight Bowser Jr., the gravity gets turned back on, and they sort of fall down, and then they're in the Honeyhive Galaxy? Unless I missed, like, a scene of the castle actually traveling through space, I thought they were just being lifted up through the Earth's atmosphere, and then they just went back down. How'd they land there? But yeah, they have to be taken to the Gateway Galaxy, which is nothing like the Gateway Galaxy in the Galaxy games, which is, you know, just your tutorial level. It's like a couple of spaceships, and like that's kind of it. There's a scene with Rob where like Peach and Toad are trying to get him to like tell him, okay, where can we find the about the Space Junk Galaxy? And he just, oh, it's over. It's a literal copy of the sloth scene from the first Zootopia. I was genuinely like surprised, like that made it in, because like that is so blatant, and also not very funny. I don't really find it funny in Zootopia either, and it's also not very funny here. This is another thing. Like, just these movies aren't all that funny. Like, they have a lot of the typical Illumination humor of, wow, isn't it funny that this character is doing something that this kind of character wouldn't normally do? Which, the more you use that, the less unusual it gets. So, something else I noticed in a lot of Illumination movies that I don't see people really talk about is just how violent a lot of the language gets. But, like, you know, PG violence, and it's always played for laughs. Like how Tiny Bowser, when Mario says that his painting is trash, he'll go like, how dare you trash my masterpiece! I'll burn the skin off your bones! And other weird threats. And it's just like, is the joke that you wouldn't normally hear these things in a children's movie? Because like all the Illumination movies do this, like the Despicable Me movies, Secret Life of Pets, like they all do this, and like I don't know why they think it's funny. It sort of dilutes the actual threat. You know, similar to how, like, most of the action in, like, a lot of their movies is just a bunch of weird cartoon slapstick. But it's not, they don't go far enough to make it actually, like, as good as, like, the all-time classic slapstick of, like, Tom and Jerry or Looney Tunes. Because, like, that stuff you can watch over and over and still, like, it's still hilarious. Just how painful it looks. All those over-the-top screams. Like, they never do that with these movies, because it's always slapstick, but it never looks all that painful, so it's never all that funny. And I'm wondering if they're doing it because they think the other wing doing it more painful would scare kids? I don't know. Illumination, it's another thing with Illumination just being sort of the milquetoast, family-friendly animation studio. Where I'm like, I mean, it works, they make a lot of money, but like, I feel like Nintendo would have been better going with anyone else. I think Sony would have done it better, because like at least they make Spider-Verse, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Hotel Transylvania. Those movies were good. I see a lot of people saying they should have gone with DreamWorks. Honestly, that does kind of fit, especially since, you know, DreamWorks from like Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon onward has been much less focused on the whole adult jokes thing in favor of, you know, actually telling stories that people care about and like. But yeah, anyway, back to the Gateway Galaxy. Peach and Toad, a Yukiki, you know, the little monkeys from Mario 64 that steal Mario's hat. The Yukiki steals Toad's supplies. It goes into like this weird portal thing in one of the sewer walls. What? Which apparently comes out of a video game in a casino. And it's one of those it's a cube thing. You know, sort of like those Galaxy levels where you can sort of like go up and run on like the walls. And that's done very well. Like I really enjoy like how it's shot. Like, it actually does feel like they're sort of defying gravity and stuff. It's cool. We see Birdo, Mauser, Claw, Grip, and Wart from Mario 2. Okay, I remember, like, seeing, like, them in, like, a poster. And at first I was like, wait, what? And then after I was like, wait, what? Like, I think that's when the alarm bell started going off in my head. with seeing that poster, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a movie that's basically just a bunch of Easter eggs, isn't it? I will say though, like, I feel like, isn't the point of like some of these like character cameos and Easter eggs the point where like, hey, you're exposing a new generation of people to these characters? Outside of Birdo, the Mario 2 characters haven't appeared since Mario 2. Wart's in like the Link's Awakening, but like outside of, you know, Mario fans who, you know, just read the Mario Wiki too much, who under the age of 40 is going to recognize Wart? His name is Luis Guzman, right? I think so. Who I have not seen in anything, but my parents have. He's fine. Wart's kind of like a mob boss, which I kind of like. Weird, his voice kind of sounds like Fred Armisen's Cranky Kong from the first movie. You know, this sort of weird, low drawl kind of thing. Like, he sort of sounds like this. I don't know, I thought that was a little weird. Peach and Toad fight off a bunch of ninjas. You know, Peach uses the parasol that Mario gave her for her birthday. I thought that was a cute scene. You know, this whole thing, one of Mario's things is that he's, you know, of course has a crush on Princess Peach. And, you know, he wants to tell her how he feels. He gets her the parasol for her birthday. They have a couple nice bonding moments, but they're in the beginning of the movie because the rest of the movie is just all action all the time. Peach fights him with the parasol. Toad gets a penguin suit. Mauser and Birdo go down pretty quickly. I don't remember what happened to Claw Grip. I think my eyes just glazed over there. Wart gets defeated just by throwing one vegetable in his mouth when it took like 4 or 5 in the game. Wart really hates vegetables. I mean, he's a frog. They eat flies, not turnips. Apparently, Wart knows Bowser and Bowser Jr. because, like, he contacts Bowser Jr., but, like, we don't see them talk, though, so it's like, what's their deal? Like, we don't see anything. If you want to, like, have, like, these characters here, actually have them, like, contribute to things and, like, interact and stuff. They give us things that we want to see, but they don't. They kind of just tease us with this. And anyway, Peach and Toad get back to the Gateway Galaxy, and honestly, the whole scene in the casino was kind of pointless. Like, you could literally just remove that and just have someone else, like, just say, oh, Rosalina's in Space Junk Galaxy, and like, so that was just like a 5-6 minute scene you could just cut from the movie. And by the way, that's not the last one. This movie is weird, because it's like an hour and a half long. There's stuff you could easily cut out and replace with stuff that actually like expands upon like Bowser Jr. or Rosalina or like the other characters. I feel like would make the movie have more pathos, but whatever. No, we gotta bring in Fox McCloud from Star Fox, and you know, seeing that poster, that just sort of caught me off guard. It's like, what? Like, Fox is in this movie? And then, of course, afterwards I was like, wait, why is he in this movie? Because he's not a Mario character. Like, there are Pikmin who make a small little appearance, because there's just sort of a thing. Like, Miyamoto's thing is that, yeah, Pikmin can just sort of show up wherever. Like, they don't contribute much to anything, but, like, Fox does, though. Apparently, the idea for Fox being in this movie came from Illumination. And they thought, hey, can we put Fox in this movie? I think it'd be really cool. And Miyamoto was like, that sounds neat, but I'll have to run it by, like, the Nintendo, like, you know, top brass. And he was expecting, like, it to be met with pushback, but apparently it wasn't. So yeah, Fox in this movie. He's in it a lot more than I expected. I thought he'd just be, like, a small cameo. But no, he's actually in, like, he has way more screen time than Rosalina, actually. And, like, Glenn Powell, like, from Top Gun Maverick, which I've still yet to see, he does a fine job. Fox is a little different than he is in the Star Fox games. Like, he has a bit more, like, snark to him. Like, some of the lines he says, like, especially in the beginning, feel like they'd feel more at home coming out of Falco's mouth than Fox's. He introduces himself with this fun little animated thing, like, hey, I'm the leader of Star Fox, and here's Peppy and Slippy and Falco. And, like, apparently he's here because of something that went wrong with his ship, and he blames Slippy for it. I don't know, I feel like the Fox in the games wouldn't just throw Slippy under the bus, even if we think Slippy is annoying. But yeah, Fox agrees to take Peach and Toad and later Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi when they show up. Over there. That's really the only, like, role he really has, is to just be the pilot, but he does show up a lot. So on the one hand, this is cool. On the other hand, why is he here? I feel like you could just have, like, have a bunch of launch stars to take you to, like, the Space Junk Galaxy, you know, like in the game. And again, going back to like the whole thing with Ward and stuff, is like, why have Fox here if you don't have a Star Fox game? If you don't have any new Star Fox games, we haven't had new Star Fox games since Star Fox Zero on the Wii U, and that sold terribly. Though this is funny, we've been getting reports, like almost like right after the Star Fox poster came out. We started getting reports that, oh, a new Star Fox game is in development and it's coming this year. We don't know if that's true. That would be pretty cool. Like, I'd honestly be way more excited for a new Star Fox game than I ever was for this movie. I don't know. I feel like Fox doesn't really need it, and he kind of took up some time that could have been given to, like, Yoshi or Rosalina. Probably my favorite sequence in the movie is, okay, well, first we have to get some stupid stuff. So, Mario and Luigi and Bowser and Yoshi, like, they have to go to, the Honeyhive Galaxy to get a ride to the Gateway of Galaxy. Bowser keeps, like, annoying Mario, like, trying to get him to, like, make him grow. So Mario punches tiny Bowser and makes him grow big because, even though that's not how the mini mushroom works, if you're hit with a mini mushroom in the games, you die. But apparently here, it's treated like a regular power-up. Bowser's kind of reformed. I don't really understand this. Because, like, he obviously still has kind of a grudge against Mario, but he and Luigi get along great. And, Mario obviously doesn't trust Bowser, but eventually he kind of does when they get to the Honeyhive Galaxy, they meet the Honey Queen, who is only in here for, like, a minute. And she's like, "You crashed your castle into my flowers. You must stay here and be my slaves." And Bowser's like, "No, I will stay here. Let Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi get a ride to the Gateway Galaxy." And Honey Queen's like, "Okay." And so that's, I don't know, I felt that was a very contrived way of getting Bowser separated. Because right after that, Bowser Jr. beams Bowser into a spaceship. And this is the part of the movie that, like, I liked most. Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s little family dynamic. Obviously, Bowser has to get back to being the villain again. And the turn is still a little jarring. It's nowhere near as bad as King Magnifico and Wish. Like, that is the lowest bar imaginable to clear, but, like, it clears it anyway. We get a little flashback of, like, Bowser performing, like, a little puppet show for baby Bowser Jr. It's pretty cute. Of course, an excuse for, like, Jack Black to go, like, full silly. I think it's neat that, like, it actually sort of does tie into Bowser Jr.'s, like, ultimate plan. Like, he got his plan from the stories his dad told him. Like, that's cute. And Bowser is proud of his son for, you know, being bad. Reminds me a lot of King Koopa in the Mario cartoons, you know, when he's, like, proud of his Koopalings for being bad. Like, I just remember there's one episode of the Mario World cartoon where Lemmy and Iggy, who are known as Hip and Hop there, they want to go to school. Of course they do bad things, but Bowser's like, No, you will not go to school. You will grow to be sneaky, two-faced, cheating illiterates, just like your dad. And they go, "You forgot lying." "Lying? Of course, an excellent trait." Of course they use that to, like, say, "Oh, we won't go to school," and then they go to school. Hey, works. That cartoon is terrible, but again, I kind of love it. But yeah, I thought Bowser's turn was weird, is kind of sudden, because Bowser's still kind of on the fence about, like, hurting the Mario bros and friends. Bowser Jr. is like, "No, you told me that friendship is dangerous." And Bowser's like, "Okay." It's very quick. Like I said, I really like how Bowser and Bowser Jr. just have this very nice family dynamic. Of course, centered around being evil, but, you know, it's a lot better than most other evil fathers in fiction. We've all seen those adorable, like, animated promo videos that, like, Nintendo put out for, like, the Switch parental controls, with Bowser being a very wholesome father to Bowser Jr. Again, I feel like this would have been a little, even better if, like, Bowser Jr. was, like, a little kid. But, like, you know, this works. I feel like they could have done, like, a parallel here of how Bowser Bowser Jr.'s dynamic could have aligned with, like, Rosalina and the Luma, since they're basically her children. Bowser sees how the Lumas are being, like, tormented, and he thinks about his own son, and that sort of gets him to snap out of his sort of villainy. But, like, that doesn't happen, and so, I don't know. Maybe that was just never in the cards, but I don't know, it feels like kind of a wasted opportunity. There's a sequence, okay, Bowser Jr., like, shoots I guess a de-aging gun? It kind of looks like a super scope, but, like, it hits Mario and Luigi, they turn to babies, and Fox crash lands on I don't know what, dinosaur world, I guess. It's basically Fossil Falls from Super Mario Odyssey. And of course some, you know, baby shenanigans happens, which is of course them doing exactly what Yoshi and Toad don't want them to do. This is probably Yoshi's biggest scene, where he tries to get Mario and Luigi and Toad, you know, out of trouble, and they fight a T-Rex. Mario gets stuck in his mouth and then comes out of the T-Rex's nose. That is not how that works. Yes, the mouth and nose are connected, but like, first of all, ew! Second of all, no. I get it's a cartoon, but come on. T-Rex roars with a Jurassic Park roar because Universal distributed this movie. And they have a chase scene. This whole sequence is pointless. Like, it doesn't do anything. Like, you'd think it would, like, do something to, like, strengthen Yoshi's bond with the brothers, but they already really like him from the start. And, like, yeah, Toad is some, like, jealousy, I guess, out of him, but that's just played as a joke for, like, 2 scenes. And it never comes up again. You could have just had Fox fly the Comet Observatory. Yeah, the Comet Observatory comes to pick up them, like, on the dinosaur planet when the Lumas hear Luigi talking on, like, the radio. You could have just had, like, Fox just fly them to, like, the Bowser planet. So yeah, Bowser Jr. made the Bowser planet based on, like, the stories that Bowser told him, and it's kind of an amusement park. And I'll say, musically, huge missed opportunity to play the World Bowser theme. Like, that would have been awesome to hear that awesome jazz theme here, because, like, Mario has really leaned into jazz ever since 3D World, but the movies never really used it. We kind of wish they did. I really like the orchestra stuff, but come on, guys. You can put in some more variety there. Yeah, Mario and Peach go. They fight Bowser, like, on a bridge above lava, you know, like Super Mario Brothers. Weirdly, it kind of reminded me of, like, in Shrek 1 when, like, Donkey and Fiona and Shrek, you know, are being chased by the dragon. But, I mean, of course, this is, like, a Mario 1 reference. Like, 80% of the rest of this movie. Before that, Mario and Peach, like, go through this underground, like, obstacle course that Bowser Jr. sort of set up. And Bowser is controlling it like a video game, but he's the one setting all the obstacles, so why is he just tap, you know, typical, like, movie video game playing where they're clearly not actually playing anything. And, like, it's a fun scene to watch, but of course falls apart when you put any sort of logical thinking into it. This is, like, the only time Bowser interacts with Peach in the movie, and, like, I guess he's over her because he doesn't really hesitate to kill her, or try to kill her. Something, okay, I wasn't expecting this. Bowser has to fight with an axe, and Mario throws, like, the axe and knocks over the ropes holding up the drawbridge, which immediately makes a lot more sense than cutting the bridge itself, like in the games. Mario and Peach make it to the other side. Bowser falls into the lava, and, like, actually sinks all the way in. I don't know, I wasn't expecting that. And then he comes out as Dry Bowser. Well, okay, well, before that, Bowser sees, like, this, and he, like, is actually super distraught. Again, I like that Bowser Jr., like, legitimately, like, really care about each other. And, like, even Mario and Peach look kind of horrified that, like, sort of orphaned Bowser Jr. But then Bowser comes back as Dry Bowser. And I gotta say, this model looks a little off. Obviously, like, the character models have to look somewhat different to work better in, like, an animated movie. And I've gotten used to most of them. Dry Bowser just looks kind of weird. Like, if you look at his model in the games, like, yeah, it looks kind of different from Bowser, but I think it still has, like, this intimidating factor. This one, I don't know, it just kind of doesn't. Mario, makes Peach, like, go on to rescue Rosalina, you know, the whole, oh, here, open the door for you. She gets through, closes it behind with him inside, like, no, I'm gonna fight. And then Luigi and Yoshi, who, I guess we're going around the park? There's, like, I think there's, like, one scene there. By the way, Toad's not on the climax. Toad is, I think, still on the Comet Observatory, while Fox is, like, flying it to, like, get Bowser Jr.'s, like, airship fleet to chase him. They're fine after that. They just sort of survive, whatever. Luigi and Yoshi come in to help fight Bowser Jr. and Dry Bowser in the climax. Luigi gets a hold of Bowser Jr.'s paintbrush and paints Mr. Game & Watch. And Mr. Game & Watch just breaks Dry Bowser. He's still alive because, you know, bones. But Bowser Jr. paints the Ruined Dragon from Super Mario Odyssey. Before that, Mario and Luigi and Yoshi get power-ups because there are still power-up boxes on Bowser Jr.'s thing. What? Why don't you, Bowser Jr., why don't you use those? I don't know. The way power-ups are worked in here is just very strange. If I made a Mario adaptation, I'd honestly might just leave them out, because, like, how the hell do you explain that? Like, Mario gets to be Drill Mario, Luigi gets to be Cloud Luigi, which, by the way, he uses those to, like, sort of, like, block some of, like, Bowser's attacks. That's not how that works. You use that to make platforms and jump higher. And Yoshi gets to be Blimp Yoshi. All he does is just float around. Blimp Yoshi's way more useful than that in the game. Come on. It is a fun fight. Like, the action scenes are fun. Like, they're well shot. The clips go on for probably honestly longer than any of the other, like, cuts, like, in the movie. But yeah, Bowser Jr. paints the Ruined Dragon, and then the Ruined Dragon eats Bowser Jr. I kind of thought his creations would just do his bidding, but I don't know. I guess that's how the brush works. Remember in Super Mario Sunshine when Bowser Jr. was just using the paintbrush to spread icky paint-like goop around Isle Delfino? Those are the days. But yeah, then Mario, has to save Bowser Jr. And it is, a nice moment to see Bowser, like, super happy that his son's okay. Even if, like, Bowser Jr. now has to pick up all of Dry Bowser's bones. He doesn't come back as normal Bowser again. Meanwhile, Peach, goes to, like, help Rosalina. Actually, when she's in the Comet Observatory, she sees Rosalina's storybook and reads it, and this caught me really off guard. In this continuity, Peach and Rosalina are sisters. A couple things. Okay, so I remember seeing that, like, in the planning stages of Galaxy, Rosalina and Peach, they were throwing around the idea that Rosalina and Peach were related, which might explain why they look pretty similar. But they abandoned that, and, like, Rosalina can't be related to Peach in the games because, she's, like, minimum 200 years old. And probably way older. But here, like, they were both created out of stardust, so technically Peach isn't actually human. She just looks and acts like one. It's sort of a thing I see with, like, a lot of the Star Wars, like, humanoid characters. Like, okay, how does all that work? How do they have, like, all the necessary biology? Whatever, it's Mario, whatever. But apparently when they work together, they can use the power of the cosmos. Whatever that means, which is, of course, a get out of jail free card for let's just do whatever we want. Like, and, sometimes I'm fine with that. Like, I mean, like, Avengers Endgame's time travel obviously, like, falls apart when you, like, really think about it. But, like, I mean, they say enough convincing technobabble to make you sort of, they're just basically like, just go along with this. We just want to, like, have fun and do these things for plot and character stuff. Which is fine. Here, it's not really for plot or character stuff. It's just a Deus Ex Machina. Because, like, Rosalina's, like, almost completely drained of energy by now. And Peach is like, do this! Like, it's me! Like, and they, like, hold their hands up and they use their power to, like, break Rosalina out of the cage and, like, heal the whole Bowser planet. That apparently doesn't apply to Bowser because he's still a bunch of bones. They get back to the Mushroom World. Of course, there's a whole, what happened to my castle? And Mario and Luigi are, of course, they're like, nah. At least Mario goes like, hey, we can rebuild your castle. We can make it even better. And Rosalina is, of course, more than willing to help. And so we get this, like, pixel art in the style of Super Mario World of them, like, rebuilding the castle. Though Luigi's sprites are taken from Mario Maker. And we're gonna say Peach's... I've always hated Peach's Mario World sprite. Like, I understand it was the first one they made with, like, that technology, but while Mario looks off in a charming way, Peach doesn't. And they made a Rosalina sprite in that style too, and it's like, I don't like that. They fully rebuild the castle. Peach gives Mario a kiss on the cheek, and Mario puts on the cape feather and flies. We go woohoo! To, I guess, like, put the top of the castle on, and then it cuts to credits. There are two post-credit scenes. The first one is Bowser Jr. in jail. I guess Fox dropped them off there, and of course they're trying to escape. But the Luma Lee from the first movie, the one who says all the nihilistic things, comes by and sort of threatens them, and they're freaked out by that. That was kind of funny. That was one of the funnier parts of the movie, which I, again, didn't really find all that funny. And the second one is the Yukiki tries to steal the supplies of one of those, wooden people from, I think, Tall Trunk Galaxy from Galaxy 2. But then he gets knocked out by Daisy. Daisy doesn't talk, so we're going to have debates about who's going to voice act her for a while. But yeah, Daisy's here, and I guess it's going to lead into a potential third movie, which I know Jack Black's joked that, hey, we're ready to see another one, 2029. Of course, like, they're probably going to make a third movie, and if they do, by God, I hope they slow things down a bit, because, like, how much did I talk about here? There's, like, so much going on, and yet somehow so little. It is an hour and a half of Easter eggs and fluff. It's kind of fun, but I also thought X-Men The Last Stand and Van Helsing were kind of fun. Those are both clearly bad movies. So I guess I should, like, give a full summary of my thoughts. Is the Super Mario Galaxy movie better than the original? No, it's not. The first movie, it is just sort of very middle of the road, but at least it had a plot structure that made sense. It had pacing, even if it was still pretty fast, and it had some attempt at character arcs with Mario and Luigi. You know, like, there was a bit more pathos with Mario and Luigi both trying to become more self-confident, like how they evolved from, like, regular people in Brooklyn to being heroes. This doesn't really have that. Every character, like, except for Bowser, all the characters start and end basically the same as they were. So, is the Super Mario Galaxy movie a bad movie? Kinda, yeah, honestly. Like, I don't want to be saying that. It's sort of... It reminds me a lot of Spider-Man 3, weirdly enough, where it's like, there's clearly, like, two separate movies battling it out for supremacy. Where it's like, you have, like, Galaxy stuff with Rosalina and, I guess, Bowser Jr., and then you have the thing that just wants to be another regular Mario movie with, like, all the Mario 2 stuff and some of the other stuff. And then it also kind of wants to be Super Smash Brothers with Fox. I also feel like they sort of jumped the gun on the Galaxy thing. Like, I feel like they should have done... The second movie should have been done more fleshing out the Mushroom World. Because we kind of see some of that in the first movie, but really, it's just the area around Peach's Castle, the Kong area, and then Bowser's Castle, and that's it. Like, I feel like you could have, like, had Yoshi, like, be the centerpiece of that movie. And maybe Daisy, too. Like, you could have Daisy. You could visit Sarathun, you have Daisy. And you could have, like... It would be really fun if, like, you had, like, Luigi and Daisy, like, instantly fall in love and just be the most adorable, awkward couple, like, ever. You know, and also sort of, like, contrast them with, like, Mario still trying to work up the, courage to, like, confess his feelings for Peach. You know, I feel like that would have been fun. And you can still let Bowser Jr. be the villain, and you try to free Bowser and stuff, but, like, I feel like it would have been more focused if they just did that, and then leave the Galaxy stuff for movie 3, because then you have, like, a trilogy. You know, end things off with a big scope of Galaxy. You have Rosalina and her backstory, and the whole fate of the universe being at stake here. You could have Bowser being the big threat from the beginning again. Or maybe they could, I don't know, you bring in Tatanga or something. I don't know. Maybe they'll do that for the next movie. They'll have Tatanga in there for Daisy. Maybe have Wario and Waluigi. That'll be kind of neat. Another thing that people who know me might ask, are the Koopalings in this movie? No, and I'm perfectly fine with them not being here because that's 7 more characters that we don't really need. A lot of people describe this as overstuffed, and yes, I would agree with that. I remember seeing, like, someone say, it was made for, like, TikToks and YouTube shorts, and, like, that's kind of harsh. But I kind of agree. Like, it is lightning fast. Like, the movie feels like it has ADHD. Like, it's just jump. This. Like, and whenever it shows, like, some promise, like, with Bowser Jr. stuff, and even, like, some thing with Rosalina and Yoshi, it just jumps to something else. Again, you could cut the whole scene with Wart in the casino, and the stuff with the babies with the dinosaur island, and technically, maybe you could cut Fox entirely, and, like, the movie wouldn't be any worse. Like, you could give that time to develop more fleshing out the characters. And so, something else, is this would I call this even a good adaptation of the Galaxy games? Honestly, no. One of the reasons that people still stick with the original game specifically is the atmosphere and, like, the poignancy of, like, everything. Where it's like, again, Space Junk Galaxy is, like, one of the most beautiful pieces of video game music of all time. Aside from, like, one scene which had, like, Mario and Peach, like, look out over all the shooting stars, you know, all the Lumas. That's, like, the only atmospheric space thing we get. Like, they never really go, whoa, look how beautiful the space is. It just sort of seems like they just sort of want this to be all fun all the time, but, like, you know, this is a movie, like, a Mario game. One of the things that make Mario games just so timeless and so fun to just play over and over is that they really understand like how to marry controls with level design, make everything like interesting, unless it's New Super Mario Brothers, like just creativity. You don't stay on a thing for too long, but you stay on it long enough for that gimmick level thing to get like fleshed out. Like that is something Mario has like perfected to a science. From like Mario 3, World, 64, the Galaxy games, 3D World, Odyssey, even New Super Mario Brothers and Sunshine to an extent. Like they all do this, and like the movie doesn't understand like this. You have to hold on to things in order for something to like be like fully fleshed out to what it can really be. So yeah, I don't think this is definitely not a good movie. I don't think this is a good sequel, and I don't think it's a very good adaptation either. So it kind of fumbles on all three accounts. Opinions are kind of all over the place. Like I've seen a lot of people like, oh, I love this movie. And all of them are just like, oh, I like pointing out, oh, look at that thing, that thing, that thing. Again, it's like having ADHD, which I do have ADHD. And I was still like, okay, you need to slow it down a bit. Like references are fun, but references don't make a movie. You know what movies are nothing but references? Those god-awful Seltzer and Freeberg parody movies. I'm using parody in the biggest air quotes possible. That are nothing but, hey, remember Pirates of the Caribbean? Remember Chronicles of Narnia? Remember Kung Fu Panda? It's just nothing but that. Mario Galaxy movie isn't nearly as bad as that. Again, like I enjoyed some of the stuff that they actually did with the characters, and like the action scenes are fun. And you know, at least the quick pace meant I was never bored. My eyes did glaze over at a few points because I was just, but I wasn't bored. But I've also seen like some movie critics, like, you know, obviously they chewed the movie out for being you know, kind of a big commercial, which again we've already said that, yeah, these kind of are. I remember there was like one critic I remember said that, like, is this the end of cinema? First of all, overreaction. Like, he said he had to like stab himself with a pen to like keep himself like awake or something, and I'm like, you know, you could just pinch your arm like a normal person does. I don't know, I think something's wrong with that guy. Like, is it that bad? No. I'd give it like maybe a 4 out of 10. If I was putting it in like a tier list like with the others, I'd put it in like D tier maybe. Again, like I view it similar to like X-Men: The Last Stand or Van Helsing, where it's like kind of fun, but I also recognize this is clearly not a good movie, like, at all. Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Maybe I should go see Project Hail Mary. That's another space-setting movie that I've heard is actually very, very good. It's by Phil Lord and Chris Miller. You know, the Spider-Verse guys, and Lego Movie and Collector Chips and Meatballs. So maybe I should see that, you know, at least as a palate cleanser. That could be fun at the theater. Anyway, yeah, that's it for me then. I'll see you with whatever I make next. I don't know. Bye.